Call the City of Apache Junction City Council meeting of December 3rd, 2024 to order and ask everyone to put their cell phones on silent. The invocation will be led by Councilmember Tess Nesser and the pledge by Councilmember Peter Heck.
Dear Lord, I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give us members wisdom and guidance as we deliberate on the items before us. May every decision be righteous in your sight for the benefit of our community. Please protect our servicemen and women and bring them back to our community safe and sound. And Lord, please protect all of our first responders, fire, police, EMTs, paramedics, anyone who serves and protects our citizens and our community. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Present.
Councilmember Cross.
Here.
Councilmember Heck.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Consent agenda. As a reminder, all items under consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request must be made prior to the consent agenda and be moved to new business. Do I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that the consent agenda be accepted and approved as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Soller.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser.
Yes.
Councilmember Cross.
Yes.
Councilmember Heck.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Regional intergovernment updates. Anyone have anything they want to bring up? Yes.
Wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the staff at the Animal Control Division. There was a need to do some pretty serious work on the roof of the building, pest control and a lot of construction work. But it was necessary to move all of the dogs out of the kennel area. To do that, with the temperature at night, they couldn't take them outside. So they had to get a little creative and create kennels and places for the dogs to be inside. And then I also want to acknowledge some of our city staff took some of the dogs home with them during this time. And from all accounts, it was handled very well. All the dogs were fine. And I want to commend them because I think that kind of thing doesn't get acknowledged or recognized, but they did a great job and kept all those dogs safe. So thank you to our police department and for our animal control division.
Anyone else? Well, I wanted to bring up briefly in the aspect on it. Went over to Mesa for their grand opening of their new city, they call it City Hall.
City Hall.
Yeah, City Hall. And it's a wide open, got plenty of windows, and it's a very nice facilities. And they got it open, and they're now starting to use it. So, you know, it's something to see. As like I said, plenty of windows, so they are under the eyes of everybody in the entire area at all times. Okay, city manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bryant Powell, City Manager. Tonight I'm going to highlight Apache Junction Public Works and then share a little bit about some of the work that they do that's day to day. And if we can get the next photo up, I've had a chance to work with Brian Gleave as they get a brand new sign truck that's equipped with the ability to be like a Swiss Army knife out there for them. And Daryl and Nolan there on the right, they are two gentlemen that do the day-to-day work to help make our signs functional, but also very safe in our community. I was with them today, and they're very proud of the work that they do, and both Brian and his team at the fleet, as well as Daryl and Nolan, they do a great job every day. We have a new truck. The older truck was the one on the right, and then we just got a brand-new truck. It was about 15 years old. And so we appreciate council and community support and helping us have that equipment to help us have the tools to stay up on things and maintain the beautiful community we have. We have another crew called the Streets Crew is out right now doing a ton of crack sealing. Hopefully you see them. If you do, wave and thank them. It's a really neat process that goes through to keep our streets stitched together. It's kind of like the ability to keep water out and to be able to, in an efficient manner, preserve them longer, which over the long haul of the life of the road helps us keep costs down and keep the cost of government to a minimal and keep our roads safe as well. So there's a crew of 6, 7 guys every day for the last 2 months have been out on the road, and they just are unsung heroes. You don't see them every day doing the great work. And so this last month I've had some chance to be with them and wanted to highlight them tonight. I don't know if I have another photo. Oh, yeah, they do drainage. Daryl doing some drainage ways and keeping regional drainage open as well. I also wanted to recognize this team, this crew. They've been so busy, and Caleb bringing her team together as well as Gina, who wasn't here yet. But the reason I bring this up is that they are getting ready for a big wave of our award-winning Citizen Leadership Institute, the classes that help folks in this community learn about, and one of the goals that we have is to help people understand what's going on in local government. And one of the ways, of course, we can do that is through education. And the education that happens through the Citizen Leadership Institute that comes up is so important. That's starting here in January. We also have boards and commissions that this group helps support. We have State of the City that's coming up, and then also our neighborhood meetings. It's a good reminder for the council to know those are coming up, and another chance for folks to communicate with us and for us to be able to share with them. It is very easy in government and local government to get rumors going, get things misunderstood, and Kayla and her team are doing a great job in helping clarify, untangle the weave that's out there and what's real and not real. So just wanted to do a shout out to them, and you know, Matthew, we never see him, the man behind the camera, so it's good to see him every once in a while come out.
You look so serious.
I know.
That's just
No, it
Little-
looks like he's up to something.
He's up to something, yeah.
Look at his eyes.
Yep.
I see
That
it
concludes
all.
my part of the report. I wanted to bring up, let's see, Eli, he's got an item that's an announcement coming up.
Yep. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. We have a major event to highlight tonight, the holiday event where we light the tree that's already up at the focal point and then have a light parade following that. I like how this little flyer kind of groups it into three areas of events because there's a ton of stuff that day that's going on. Santa's going to be there. There's inflatables, local businesses, and nonprofits will have booths at Flatiron Park before the tree lighting. So this is a big award-winning event. From what I'm hearing, there's 39 floats that are registered so far, which is more than we've had in previous years. I think it's actually the most ever. We didn't triple check that, but it looks like it's going to be a great event this year. A lot of people out there, and I am very excited for it. And that concludes our events for this week.
Okay, thank you. Presentation, discussion, and agreement with Goober Power Services. Ted.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Ted Wolf, Public Works Director. The presentation this evening, will be replacement of the library SES electrical facility. Next slide. The service entrance section, which is the SES, is the brain of the electrical system for the whole building. It was original to the library when it was built in 1986, and as everything happens, there's life cycle issues, and this SES has met its life cycle. Next slide, please. The library is a valuable asset to the community with an average of over 19,000 visitors per month. the equipment failure could disrupt the functionality of the library for up to 3 months due to long lead times to get replacement parts. We looked at temporary power and when we do replace the SES, and it's because logistics and the cost, it's not possible. So we have to have another way to replace this. Next slide, please. The costs are driven mainly by many factors, including material costs, fabrication, labor. We're going to have to pay premium because our plan is to do this work when the library is not in service over a weekend. Because the age of the SES, there is risk that every day that it could go out. And if it goes out, the library will be down for several months. So the plan is to do it as soon as possible. We budgeted for this expenditure, and we've got a replacement quote and currently in place with Gruber Power. Next slide, please. So the work should start and complete within 36 hours. So we're planning to start on a Saturday at 6 p.m. and be complete by 6 a.m. Monday. So again, no impacts to the library operation. We are going to develop a communication plan to inform public of the shutdown, and if something goes, bad, and it takes a little longer, we're going to communicate that to the community. Any questions?
Yes.
Not so much of a question, but more of a statement based on your numbers and based what I've seen. Long lead items like that can take a year and a half to get if you're not planning ahead. My brother-in-law is currently working on a big major SES for a company over in Tempe, and they got caught with their shorts down, and they've been out of function for 3 months now. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate you guys looking ahead and being on top of things. It's commendable.
Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, we knew this was a problem last year, and that's why we budgeted it in our budget to do this work. And we're planning to do it again as quickly as possible and not to put the library out of service or inconvenience to the library staff and residents.
Anyone else? Yes.
When do you think you could start?
Let me bring up Maggie Quinn. She's our new facilities manager. I want to take the opportunity. She's been here for a whole month.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
My God.
Yeah.
So, Maggie,
Sure. Hi, Maggie Quinn, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. We would like to do this as soon as possible, and I've asked them when they could start, put the order on us. They could put that order in just as soon as they get a signed PO from us. So as soon as we have your approval, they're ready to put it in the pipeline. And as Ted referred, it's probably a 3-month lead time. So, yeah, that's pretty much a start.
And Mr. Mayor, it'll be up for approval or your consideration for approval on Tuesday, December 17th, the next meeting.
Okay. This is information only.
Yep.
Anyone else? Thank you.
thank you.
Welcome aboard. Presentation discussion of Resolution 24-37.
Mayor Wilson, Vice Mayor Schroeder, council members, good evening. Emil Schmidt, city engineer with engineering. I'm here this evening to discuss Resolution 24-37, which is a roadway extinguishment easement. You're familiar with this process, and we've been here before in the past presenting several of these. This resolution deals specifically with a segment of Chaparral Road between Scenic Street and Virginia Street. a little bit of a background on federal patent easements, and you may have heard this before, but for the benefit of the audience here. In 1938, there was a Small Tracts Act, which was used by the Forest Service back then to help resolve any boundary and access issues to public lands. And that carried over into our state around in the 1950s when land was carved up into parcels here. They created what is called a federal patent easement along, typically along the four sides of a parcel, which would ensure that landowners had access to their land from a public roadway. These areas are also used by cities to build roads, which we have done in the past. And it's also an area that's reserved for utilities for their use to run their facilities to areas where they need to provide service. We have a process to extinguish federal patent easements, the road easement part of the federal patent easement, not the utility portion. We have an application that's submitted by an interested party. Along with that application, they provide a support petition for properties within 300 feet of the area that they want to extinguish. And there's also a Proposition 207 form that's signed by neighbors immediately adjacent to the segment that they're interested in extinguishing, along with a non-refundable fee. When we receive a complete application and we verified that it's complete, Public Works staff will contact emergency responders and public utility providers to let them know that an application to extinguish a road easement, and it gives them a chance to provide comments, thoughts, concerns, if they do have any. In this particular segment of Chaparral Road, and I believe the next slide shows exactly where we are at. So it's the area that is circled in blue. And Public Works does not currently maintain a road in this segment, and nor do we anticipate needing to build a road either now or in the future in this area. You can see that there are some red shaded areas at the very north end of the segment. Those are previously extinguished road easements along Virginia. Scenic Street is a light green shading. That's still a federal patent easement, but we do maintain a road, a paved surface in Scenic Street, so we wouldn't be able to extinguish that portion of it. The applicant wished to have the Chaparral segment extinguished as part of a potential building permit that they want to apply for. And essentially what that does is it changes the location of where building setback lines are located. And it gives landowners about 20 more feet of available space on their properties to develop. So our recommendation, the staff recommendation is that Resolution 24-37 be approved. Staff respectfully requests the mayor and council to consider and ultimately approve this resolution. And this will be back on the consent agenda at the December 17th City Council meeting, 2 weeks from tonight. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions? Yes?
Were there any residents in the neighborhood that opposed us?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Don't see anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Presentation, discuss case number P 24-64-PZ. Nick.
Good evening, City Council. I'm Nick Leftwich, planner for the Development Services Department of the City of Apache Junction. And I'll be presenting tonight case P 24-64-PZ, the 2nd Avenue and Colt Road rezoning. So this is a request by Tim and Christy Sheehan, the property owners, for a proposed rezoning of the north half of parcel 101-20-0088A, located at the southwest corner of Colt Road and 2nd Avenue, The proposal is approximately 2 net acres, specifically the north half of this parcel, which are currently zoned high-density, multiple-family residential, or RM2. And the request is to rezone it to general rural, low-density, single-family detached residential, or RSGR, for the purpose of building their own personal residence. So depicted here is a zoning map of the area. As noted, the brown is multifamily, while the green is the zone that they're requesting to rezone to, the RSGR, low-density, single-family residential. As we see some red in the adjacent area, those are the commercial zones. So they are surrounded by a mixture of properties. They have both other high-density, multifamily residential properties, as well as several and many other single-family residential properties of the acre and a quarter type. So shown here, zooming out a bit, is the general plan land use map. This property is located within the downtown mixed-use area, designated by the general plan, which is generally designed for higher density residential and for mixed-use commercial purposes. Notably, however, the general plan does not require an amendment to this map, as it specifically provides an exception when rezoning to a lower residential density. And we have not found that it substantially hinders the general plan goals of the area. However, as it is in conflict with the general plan designation, which generally promotes high-density multifamily residential, we ultimately leave it as a policy decision to the City Council. The site plan itself is fairly simple. This is somewhat of a unique rezoning, as it is a request by the owner and applicant to willingly downzone their property to build a personal residence. Most of the time we receive these projects as they come in, and people are trying to increase intensity. This is fairly unique as it comes by, and they're planning just to build a singular home with the property that they own. The applicant has complied with all of the required public notification requirements. They've posted signs, we've sent out letters. The notification was hosted in the newspaper. They held a neighborhood meeting for this on October 23rd, 2024. It was attended by one neighbor and who was very active in expressing support for the proposed rezoning, and what they ended up doing is going around to the other neighbors of this property and forming a petition of support for this, which has been attached as part of the staff memo. But on November 12th, the Planning and Zoning Commission did vote 4-2 to recommend the denial of P2464PZ, citing the conflict of the general plan in terms of densities, residential densities, and so forth. So with this, again, it is a fairly unique request. The applicant does have a presentation that they are prepared to share in a couple weeks, but as tonight is just a new business item, a work session item, I am just here tonight if you have questions specific to staff.
Any questions? Yes.
So, Nick, do you know how long this couple has owned this parcel? Do you know how long they've owned it?
Mayor Wilson, Councilmember Heck. I believe it's been since 2017.
2016.
8 years, yes.
Okay. So it would have been within the time when we had developed the general plan.
That is correct. Okay. The general plan was adopted in 2020 in this instance.
Right. Second question. So it looks like they're trying to divide the parcel pretty much into 2 equal segments. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It's roughly 2 acres. And maybe I misunderstand, but I thought we were trying to establish the RSGR had to be 1.25 acres or more. Is that not correct?
The RSGR zone is a minimum of 1 acre and a quarter. In this case, the current parcel is it's 5 gross acres, approximately 4.05 net acres. So they are splitting it, and the child parcel, the only portion that they're rezoning, is a total of 2 acres. Okay. So the current parcel that is going to be split in half is 4 acres. The only part that's being zoned is 2, if that offers clarification.
Oh, okay, I got it. All right. Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Where is the apartment that they own?
The apartments that the applicant owns, they actually own quite a bit of multifamily residential properties, apartments within this area. They own these apartments that are in the B1 general commercial zone. They operate under, I believe, conditional use permit. Their office is this property right here. They also own these apartments, and they own other apartments further north on Winchester as well.
So their base idea is to keep one part of that could be developed later for multifamily, but put a single residence on one so that they now form their home base in Apache Junction rather than wherever they're living. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of owners of apartment complexes living in our community versus living in Germany or some other place where it's next to impossible to get a hold of them. So,
Where do these folks live now?
They currently live in Queen Creek and have noted that they try to be very active. I believe they'll speak to it when they are here, but they've indicated that they try to be very responsive, and sometimes that means making a trip down to Ellsworth at 9 at night, and I've indicated that they would certainly like to move out here.
Anyone else? Okay, so we'll have a public hearing on this on the 17th.
They won't be able to tonight.
All right. That was going to be easy, okay. So since we don't have anything else, it's now a call to the public. I would like to remind everyone the call to the public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's time for the public to express requests, communication, comments, and suggestions. Requests to speak forms must have been completed and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Underneath the open meeting law, council cannot engage in discussions on issues presented, but may respond to criticism, may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly, or place this matter on a future agenda for a council discussion. There's a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. And I have 3. Steve Kitzman.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Steve Kitzman. I am a resident of Apache Junction. I was here last May when I presented my concern. Previously, only a few neighboring cities had a no wild bird, wild animal feeding ordinance. It's time for the city of Apache Junction to adopt a similar ordinance. There is a reason these ordinances are being adopted by the majority of large cities. Wild birds and wild animals are out of control in parts of our city, causing property damage, creating a nuisance, and carrying multitude of diseases, causing potential harm to our young and elderly residents. There is also a cost to the damage they cause to the city of Apache Junction and public and private property owners, let alone the unsightly mess they leave behind on just about everything. Those who feed these wild birds and animals cause a nuisance by attracting them to the neighborhood. Their excretements also cause property damage by defecating on rooftops, patios, lawn furniture, cars, sidewalks, and driveways. Bird feeders, the birds feed falls on the ground, and from the birds not eating it, it attracts rodents, causing more health risk and another nuisance. This needs to stop. Let's join our neighboring cities in putting an end to wild bird and wild animal feeding and clean up our city and communities. Let's not be the only safe harbor where they find food provided by Apache Junction residents. They should not be fed but forced to survive on what nature intended them to feed on. So I hope the city of Apache Junction does the right thing and votes to approve this ordinance. Thank you. This is direction to staff. Thank you.
Catherine Meek.
Hi there, Mayor, City Council. Catherine Meek, 1327 South Bel Air Road. Last weekend was really busy up at the Superstition Mountain Museum. We had Mr. and Mrs. Claus up there. They saw almost 70 kids. Lots of photos were taken. This upcoming weekend, we're going to be having gunfights, and we'll be drawing the winning raffle tickets for the year-long raffles we've got going. So it's your last chance to go and buy a raffle ticket or two if you're interested in potentially getting this squash blossom necklace or the unmentionable item. Then the following weekend, after all the holiday parades are done here in AJ, we'll have Mr. and Mrs. Claus back saying ho, ho, ho to the kids and grown-ups to get their pictures taken. We'll be doing our second part of the holiday boutique, so there's going to be more arts and crafts, goodies, presents. Time to get those last-minute presents done before it's too late. And then also, in addition to Mr. and Mrs. Claus saying hello to people, they were collecting donations for Apache Junction Animal Control. Keep calling it Paws and Claws. I just dropped off 4 boxes full of food and toys, leashes this morning, along with a little bit of cash. Hopefully we'll be raising another good chunk of money, and I'll be able to drop some off in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Donna Carr.
Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. I wish the person who built all the apartments thought I didn't build all the apartments, but I'm all for, putting a single-family home on a bigger chunk of land out here, especially because we say that we're horse property and we want to keep the bigger land. I have a problem with a easement beside my house. Now, the easement is actually owned by the state. But the city has been very nice, Public Works has been very nice, and they've come out and dropped chipped up asphalt to try to keep the dust level down. Well, probably about a few years ago, I had stopped by there again, and the guy that I spoke to says, well, we can come out there and do it again, it is time, but we'll probably have to scrape up the old and put down some new. So I said, okay, well, I wanted to wait a while. So I waited a few years. I stopped by there again this past week. And I spoke with someone, and they said, okay, well, we'll send somebody out. They showed up. Showed up with their tractors, their water truck, and they said, we'll be back. We're going to go do somebody else's resident first, and then they never came back. So the only reason why they're scraping off the top surface before they put down any more is because if it rains, the rain runoff will end up causing the water to end up in my yard, which I've already got problems with that from 2 doors behind me, bringing in 6 dump trucks full of dirt and changing the natural flow of the water, so I have a wash coming in the backside of my yard on the other side. So I'm pretty sure I don't need any more water coming in my yard. I'd also like to let you people know that there is a tortilla place that is over in the Goodwill parking lot. They only sell to the general public on Thursdays. But if you want to try some different tortillas, man, they got strawberries and cream tortillas. I mean, they got bacon tortillas, you name it, they got it. They made it. So if you're interested in trying something new, you might want to check out the place. All right, thanks.
Any comments from the council?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to ask our city manager to look into other city ordinances on the wildlife, bird feeding. Also have our city attorney look into game and fish and see what the laws are about feeding birds and wildlife. And just get back to us on that so we have an idea. I would like to know what the city or other city ordinances are and if they actually work, or are they just feel-good city ordinances? You know, so if you could look into that for us and get back to us, I'd really appreciate that. And then follow up with Game and Fish and see what their rules are too.
Yes, we could definitely do that.
Yes.
Can somebody check into Donna Carr's strip of land? Do we have somebody that's,
Yeah.
do you know?
We can have someone talk to our, I don't know if we caught exactly everything, but we'll have someone check in, yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, one more thing, I went out to the museum and the church over the weekend. That is really, it was my first time out there. I've been meaning to get there for a while, and it was really impressive. They really do a nice job out there. It's a nice museum, and then they have the church and the barn, and they have a, what's it called? Stamp mill. That's really impressive too, because it's back in the 1800s, and it's how they used to smash up ore to get gold. So really educational. It was a good time, and this would be a great time of year to go out there because the weather's perfect and there's a lot of things to do.
Okay. I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.